What's up, everybody? Welcome to Big Buzz. I'm Gavin.
Big Dev.
It's your boy Kaz. Make sure you guys shoot us a follow over on the Instagram at Big Buzz Podcast for our daily locks.
Go to our TikTok and watch clips from this podcast and previous podcasts as well.
Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Enjoy the video.
That gives me a quick question to y'all. With the Niners, is Trey Lance now back in the picture as their quarterback next year?
100%.
Yep.
100% back in the picture. Now you have someone who needs surgery. Like you said, going to be out for at least 6 months. This is definitely a team that still has a QB competition going on. With an injury like that, it could affect the way that he plays forever. So definitely Trey Lance is going to stay a 49er come next year. And if he doesn't, then he's involved in a trade to get another quarterback potentially, or another draft pick that could take a quarterback, something like that.
I mean, yeah, I don't think Trey Lance was ever completely out of the picture to begin with. So I think Purdy going out with that UCL just plays in his favor even more. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of reports that maybe Brady is going to end up going to San Francisco, and a lot of people want Brady to come to San Francisco and mentor, whether it's Purdy or Trey Lance up there. I think that would be a great idea, getting mentored by the GOAT himself.
I've seen the same thing with Rodgers as well.
Going to where? San Francisco? He's not going to San
I
Francisco.
doubt it, but, you know, it's the same situation. Another veteran quarterback, one of the best to ever do it, to not only does he still have the ability to take him to a Super Bowl, but, like you said, mentor the young quarterback.
It's not. Yeah. I don't even think it's that. I think Aaron Rodgers will just never go to San Francisco just because of what happened in his draft with them taking Alex Smith over him. It will just never happen. He will never go there, and you're going to go to your daddy's team afterward. Somebody had to say it. I mean, the Niners own him in the playoffs. But, yeah, I think I could see Brady going there, mentoring one of those two. But, yeah, Trey Lance, I think, is very much in the picture. But let's get back to this game. Philly absolutely blowing out the Niners. I think they only threw 4 passes from Purdy. I think 11 from Josh Johnson in that game. And they had McCaffrey in the Wildcat a little bit.
Yeah, he almost had to suit up for quarterback.
Yeah, they were about to give him the mic. About to give him the mic. So that didn't end up happening. They put in Purdy, just running the ball a lot. Just after run after run after run. I think it was just more about his health at the end of the game than trying to win the game.
Yeah, 100%.
The question, just to give McCaffrey the mic, that just goes to show a player that entered into that team, that organization this year in the middle of the season. Guy's a heck of a leader, and he's a heck of a player, as we saw. He had a hell of a run. Broke, 4 or 5 tackles, even more than that. Something crazy.
Ridiculous touchdown.
Special, for sure.
But, let's stop talking about the Niners. Let's give the Eagles their love. 4 rushing touchdowns by them. Unbelievable game. 148 yards on the ground for them. Kenneth Gainwell leading the way with that. This Philly run game is just something not to mess with in this league.
It's offense in general. They're a powerhouse for sure.
I have a question for you guys about this Philly offense. So, obviously, Philadelphia is such a great team all around. They were able to beat the 49ers, who at this point were undefeated for the past, I would say, 12 games. 31-7. This team is so well-rounded that the quarterback that you guys say, quote-unquote, is a difference maker for this team went 15 for 25 through the air, 121 yards, 0 passing touchdowns, and a 64 QBR, I'm sorry. He had 11 carries for 39 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Jalen Hurts didn't really need to produce a lot this game considering the running backs played so well, and as well as the defense. But
I was about to say.
Is Jalen Hurts the X factor for this team, or is this team just completely stacked?
How many games did the Eagles lose when he was out?
2.
How many times did they lose all year?
1 with him in.
Yeah, exactly. That says enough for me right there. He is an absolute game changer in that lineup still.
But with those statistics, are you still going to say that without him this team isn't successful?
Yes. He major part of that run game. A lot of eyes, along with the Ravens. So it's like the Ravens, the RPO, he can just take off with the ball. It makes another eye on that defense go after Jalen Hurts to the outside if he's going to the outside, and it takes your eyes off the running back. That's how I feel about it.
That's a good point.
So if you put somebody like, for instance, Tom Brady, if you put Tom Brady back there, nobody's going to fall for him running to the outside. It just opens up the hole for the running backs a lot more.
So you're saying his skills and his it's kind of like you have to game for them, so that means that you're automatically at a little bit of a deficit.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same thing with how Lamar Jackson's MVP season, I feel like, was.
Yeah. What do you think, Dev?
I agree with absolutely everything Gavin said, and I also just want to throw in. I feel like all I hear about, other than him just being a great football player, is how well of a leader he is. I feel like I hear about that more than how good he is just on the football field. I hear win or lose, same mentality at all times. Kid's a hard worker, and I think he really just boosts the morale of all his teammates, and I think that plays just as big a role as putting up crazy numbers on the field.
Yeah, locker room presence is easy.
Jalen Hurts, somebody I just never expected to pan out in the NFL. From watching him in Alabama, and getting his job taken away by Tua as well, just crazy to me to think, like, okay, there's no way this kid's going to do anything in the NFL. Goes to Oklahoma, a finalist for the Heisman Trophy. I was like, all right, maybe he's improving a little bit more. I mean, Lincoln Riley's always been up there for helping out quarterbacks in college.
Yeah.
Goes to, I think, third round in the NFL draft. I think he went third round. I was like, all right, this is just what's the word for it?
Underwhelming.
A project. Yeah. Let's see if this pans out. We see what Baltimore's doing with Lamar Jackson and changing the game of football into a running quarterback, mobile quarterback league now. And absolutely it panned out for them, and I'll take all my words back about him.
Yeah,
I agree.
definitely proved itself.
Yeah,
but
definitely swallow some words.
I feel like we got enough of this blowout. Say we move on to Cincinnati and Kansas City.
You mean the refs in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I guess refs versus Cincinnati. That's a
controversy.
That's a way to start this one off, Gav. What happened this weekend? What was the controversy this weekend? Started off with the refs, Gav.
So I'm gonna start out with no second half penalties by the Chiefs in this one. A very controversial. This play didn't have any effect on the game, but it was just something that was you never see happen. The back ref blew the whistle on a 3rd and 9 play.
I remember that. Yeah.
Blew the whistle. I think Kansas City was either short or threw it incomplete, and they say nobody heard the whistle on it, and they said it's a redo the play. You got to redo the play. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Kansas City. I'm like, well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
After the play's already
Yeah,
over.
you can't do that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then
Questionable holding calls.
a lot of questionable
lot.
holding calls
A whole lot.
on Kansas City
It
not
was-
being called.
It was really both ways. I just feel like when I go on like TikTok or something, I just see all these really, really upset Bengals fans kind of just trying to single out those calls in the last drive, where they didn't get any calls from Kansas City. But it really went both ways. Both teams didn't get a lot of calls as well. But yeah,
It's hard to be. You got to be a little mad as a Bengals fan.
Oh,
0
absolutely.
second
Yeah.
half penalties. That's unbelievable.
and there was definitely some pretty obvious ones.
Oh, yeah. Super obvious holdings. But then it brings back
3
the
on 1
argument.
play. Please say you saw that. Not to cut you off
No,
right
that's
there.
okay. I
But
did see
they're
it.
3 on 1 play.
I don't know if that was on the same play that they had the unnecessary roughness out of bounds.
on the last drive of the game.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it wasn't. I think
Well,
it was earlier in the game.
there was some questionable holdings on that play as well. But I want to bring back what Joey Bosa, in that post-game conference against the Jags in the wild card round. He says that these refs need to be held accountable. After this game, this is the AFC Championship. It's the second, to the Super Bowl. In this game, it's such high of a level. Like, what type of consequences or what type of accountability would you guys say should be held against the refs?
So don't get me wrong. Being a referee is a very hard job to do. There's so much going on in the field. It's hard to keep track of everything that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to discredit these guys, but you guys are missing so many of these calls that need to be called, changing the impact in all these games. Obviously, we look back on the NFC Championship a couple years ago with the Saints and the Rams. Biggest blown call period in NFL history happens.
That
and
one, that ref. Well, you can't really just single out one, but that was
Terrible.
insane. Like that was actually.
And it
unbearable.
ruined a chance of seeing Breeze versus Brady in the Super Bowl. Probably, arguably 1 and 2. I don't think it's 1 and 2, but it's
Arguably.
arguable. Be 1 and 2 for quarterbacks of all time. Ruin that of ever happening, and it's just something these refs have to be accountable for. You can't be missing all these holding calls. And if you're gonna miss the holding calls, you at least got to call it both ways. You can't just call them on Cincinnati the whole time or miss the holding calls on Kansas City. Don't call the ones on Cincinnati.
Yeah.
If we're going to keep it even. That's what I think. That's just my words.
Well, the truth is, on the field, the refs know and they can hear the reactions from the players. So, realistically, if you're, Trey Hendrickson, you're getting held like crazy, you're going to hear that type of retaliation from the player on the field.
Yeah.
At that point, I think what the refs should take into their accountability, or what they take into the deciding factors, whether or not they make the call or not, they can look at things over and be like, oh, I didn't see that. He's over there complaining. Maybe we should take a look at this play. And then that's when you later call the flag. But the NFL is trying to decipher, there is a certain number of, or there is a margin for error in the NFL, and I think they have it there on purpose. I think the NFL wants to have, okay, if it doesn't get called, you don't get caught, or whatever, what have you. But you have situations where it comes down to the line and plays just aren't noticed or plays aren't called, and then, you ruin the chances of a team making it to the Super Bowl this year. So I could totally see the argument that Joey Bosa made, and, it still runs true, and I think it still will forever run true in all sports.
Talking about Joey Bosa, please say y'all saw that video of him outside the
With the
Eagles
Niners?
game.
Yeah, that was terrible. You
That was
can't
so
do that,
funny.
man. You really can't do that.
Bro, dude, he looked like such a clown in that video. We get it. You win the argument when something gets brought up about money. We get it. You don't have to explain it.
He went off.
No, the fan did, because he was like, how are you taking all those fines? They came at him. He brought up the money, I guess,
You
and
gotta
he
be
just
more professional.
just
Especially-
mic dropped it.
Especially a player of that caliber. You
Yeah.
got it. He's a vet. He's been doing it for a little bit now. You can't do stuff like that.
Oh, them boys up in Philly a little different.
They
though.
are.
I
They're
will say
different
that.
breeds. They are different breeds.
Still.
Oh my God! But but still, Joe Burrow didn't have the greatest game. 2 interceptions is not going to get it done in the AFC Championship. 1 in the fourth quarter as well.
Burrowhead.
Burrow came, like I said in the last podcast. I said it was going to retaliate on these guys.
Kansas City Chiefs. You guys were completely right on the last podcast. Something else about Joe Burrow, though. For the Cincinnati Bengals, he's the leading rusher with 4 carries and 30 yards rushing. The Cincinnati Bengals, he was their lead rusher. And, in an AFC Championship game, you cannot expect a win when, your lead rusher is your quarterback, who really isn't mobile, wouldn't be considered mobile, more of a field general type guy. But, if he's your leading rusher, that's a key hole that you can see in what happened in the loss of that game.
Yeah, obviously that defensive line for Kansas City just shut down Joe
God.
Mixon.
And this
I
guy
think-
called it. I'm going to give him all the credit in the world. He definitely called that, saying the Kansas City Chiefs one of the best defenses getting to the quarterback.
How many sacks did they got the Burrow a lot that game?
5
Yeah,
sacks.
they went off. That front 5.
5 sacks.
Killing them.
Yep.
I told y'all that one.
I'll get you that.
I told y'all that one. Another thing that I was right about, Travis Kelce, first touchdown again.
Locked
if y'all
it up.
saw that one on the Big Buzz podcast, another one.
Yeah, that I had to put that down too. It was funny because remember Kadarius Toney dropped that touchdown.
Oh my
Isaiah
God.
Pacheco ended up running one in,
Yeah,
got
got
called
called
back by
back.
a flag, and then next play Kelsey
Insane,
scores.
dude.
That
Insane.
was huge for me. I was going crazy.
But speaking of Kelce, we're getting a Kelce versus Kelce Super Bowl.
That's awesome.
That's
I love
Love
that.
And we're seeing a lot of stuff about the NFL being rigged with Kelce versus Kelce. Like all these storylines going into this. You got Kelce versus Kelce.
Yeah.
We got
Reed on the Eagles,
Peter-
Reed on the Chiefs.
Not even that. I be hearing the most about the whole State Farm and
the
Patrick
stadium.
Mahomes and all that. I just think it's a big coincidence, but you're gonna have them people out there that
Right.
just do anything.
I saw that this morning. I was like, wow, I did not know.
I mean, it is a little weird. I just think it's kind of a little ironic.
I think it's a little random, but let's talk about the big play that really happened in that game. Joseph Saya's big late hit penalty. And the crazy part about this penalty, or this guy, he's the best defensive player all night for the Bengals.
He's balling.
But that's the one play that will get remembered. Oh, it's the one play that will get remembered. I feel so bad for him.
Play a hell of a game, make one mistake late, and it, that's the dagger. It doesn't necessarily cost you the game because there's so many events that take you to where you're at in that game, but that was the dagger right there.
Yeah, I also kind of feel bad because I think he snapped his leg in half as well on the play too.
Man.
So that's a
Snapped it.
very he got hurt on that play bad.
I don't think he snapped it because he was
walking in the locker room.
Yeah, they had an
I
interview.
think he
with
tore.
him
I'm pretty
after.
sure he tore something. I don't
know. I did see where they interviewed him in the locker room after, and they just wanted to keep bringing it up. I'm not sure what teammate it was, but big props to him for lifting him up. I'm not talking about the race bashing him. He was just
No,
It was B.J. Hill.
It was that. Yeah, he was just letting the interviewers know he played his heart out that game. Their best defender on the field, and they just immediately want to come in and bash him about that. You know.
He
Yeah.
was sideline to sideline all night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jermaine Pratt was the one that got heated after the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Saying, I'm sure a lot of y'all saw the video. If you haven't,
Yeah.
it's all over the place. It's pretty sad to see one of your teammates do that to you. If one of my teammates ever did that to me, I would probably try to punch him in the face because that's really, really.
I could see it. Yeah, I could. I mean, at the same time, you have a right to be upset too. Now, you don't point fingers in any team. It's not, you know, you
don't
should never
ever-
point fingers in sports.
You don't think that he feels horrible? He
definitely
feels horrible
horrible.
enough, and
And
you're
he
gonna
didn't do
just
it on
keep doing
purpose.
exactly. You never meant to do that. And football is such a quick sport
Yeah.
that it just happens like that.
Right.
It just
And
happens like
it's
that.
complete adrenaline at that point in the AFC Championship. But it's one thing if you throw a punch at somebody that late in the game and it costs you 15, something like that.
Yeah.
It's clearly a mistake.
Like Trent Williams.
Yeah, like Trent Williams. But you know, something about this game. Jamar Chase in a post-game interview says they were doubling me and T all game, and Tyler Boyd, I believe, was hurt for a little bit of it. So, you know, Cincinnati definitely struggles with their top two receivers getting, you know, double teamed all night. T.
He
Higgins,
still had a game.
yeah, T. Higgins still had a game. And Jamar Chase still had a pretty good game. T. Higgins mossed two guys in the end zone. It was a hell of a catch. I want to jump into a segment real quick with this or that. I want to do T. Higgins. So for the first receiver we're going to do, it's going to be T. Higgins or Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. It's not a question.
I'd probably go Tyreek Hill in this one. T. Higgins or Debo Samuel.
T. Higgins.
I'm gonna take Debo just for the versatility.
Okay, I
do
like it.
As a pure receiver, I'd probably take Higgins, but Debo with the being able to run the ball in the yards after
The
you know,
catch.
tackles and the catch.
Yards after the catch.
Solid.
Is ridiculous.
Yeah. We're going T. Higgins or C.D. Lamb.
T. Higgins.
I'm going CD. I like CD a lot. I'm
Yeah.
pretty biased against
I think I'm going to have to go with C.D. on this one. Even though T. Higgins is that guy, I'm still going to have to go C.D. Next, we have A.J. Brown.
I'm gonna take AJ
I'm
Brown.
taking AJ Brown.
I feel like I'm going to take T. Higgins in this one, bro. I feel like T. Higgins is...
Who's better, C.D. Lamb or AJ Brown?
I think C.D. Lamb's tougher. I think C.D. Lamb's tougher.
Tougher. If we're talking
Tougher.
tougher.
What? What do you mean
AJ
tough?
Brown. Give me that.
I mean, just
What?
like
He's a
that,
bulldog,
I just
bro.
think if you have C.D. Lamb on your team or if you have A.J. Brown on your team, C.D. Lamb's more...
What are we saying by tougher? You mean like
I'm not saying like
he's
physically stronger.
like
or whatever.
flashy?
Yeah, like flashy wise, like he's cool. Like CD's like a cooler. Like I feel like he's more of a playmaker than AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown's definitely a stronger receiver with probably stronger hands, but I just think CD's more likely to make plays.
All right, give me another.
We can
guy.
argue with that in the comments all day, but next we'll go Terry McLaurin or T Higgins.
T. Higgins, not even close.
I wouldn't say it's not close.
I think
Terry
it's
McLaurin
close.
is him.
Terry McLaurin's
Y'all
nice.
crazy about
And he
that.
doesn't really have.
You
a,
give Terry
you know, good
McLaurin a
QB
quarterback,
throwing the
you
ball.
bring him over to Baltimore, yeah, you gonna see what's up with him.
And you know T Higgins does have Joe Burrow throwing him the ball, so you got to take that into consideration.
Terry
T.
McLaurin is tough, but
See what happens when T. Higgins is on a team by himself. He's gonna eat, bro. He's gonna eat.
I think he will. I don't know if we'll ever
I
see
think
that.
this is
day.
a little close, but I think I'm gonna go McLaurin. I like Scary Terry.
I like T Higgins. I think Higgins is that guy. All right, we have two left. We're gonna go Brandon Ayuk or T Higgins.
T. Higgins.
Higgins.
T Higgins probably. Brandon Ayuk's the beast though. And the last one, DJ Moore or T Higgins.
T Higgins. I do like DJ Moore a lot, but big Maryland guy. But I'm gonna go ahead. And
I
take
took
T.
C.D. Lamb over DJ
Nah,
last
I thought you
time.
took DJ.
No, I took. No, he took.
Oh, you took DJ.
He took D. Yo, this man Ryan want to be like, yo, I gotta take the Maryland guy. I gotta take DJ Moore in this one. You said no to Stephon Diggs, but you're gonna take DJ Moore? Are you serious?
Yeah, nah.
The Maryland.
T. Higgins.
I'm
Next.
taking Stephon over a lot of people. That's my guy.
That's
Give
it's
me-
okay. I'm still gonna take DJ Moore. I love DJ Moore, but you know T Higgins is a hell of a receiver. Still love you, DJ Moore. And that's my answer. So that is the end of the T Higgins this or that segment. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
You're
I
right.
say we move it right
It's a
on.
pleasure.
Yeah. The just saying, DJ Moore is a very talented wide receiver.
Oh yeah, you know he is.
3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Very
With
hard
no
to do
quarterback.
with no
With
quarterback.
No
But
quarterback.
T. Higgins is that guy. He's that guy.
100%. Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. So, Gavin and I kind of had a discussion this weekend about who's the second best player on the Chiefs. Because we were just talking like Travis Kelce's so nice. Obviously, the best player on the Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes. But when you're talking the second best player, obviously, does Jordan have all the success without Pippen? You never know. This is the same kind of argument. Does Patrick Mahomes succeed as much without Kelsey? So, the second best player on the Chiefs, who do you guys got?
Travis Kelsey.
It is Travis Kelsey, but I kind of want to flip the role. So say Travis Kelsey was the one that got traded away this offseason. Would Patrick Mahomes be as successful if he had Tyreek Hill still there?
I mean, I think he would still be really successful. I think Travis Kelsey's the clear breadwinner as far as receivers go on that team, even with Tyreek Hill there.
Do you think he would be more successful with Kelsey or Hill?
Kelsey.
You think so?
Yeah. I think if Kelsey's gone, he doesn't have as much success. Even if Tyreek Hill stays. What do you think, Devin?
That's tough. Because it's like, Kelsey is just, like, out of every other tight end, he's just, you got the Kittles and the Andrews, but I feel like Kelsey still just sprouts so high above them.
Yeah.
But it's like, Tyreek Hill is so unguardable. Like, I don't think Tua does as good this year. I don't think he does as good this year without Tyreek Hill.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So it's like, it's hard to say. Kelsey's that guy, one of the better route running tight ends, insane hands. He's always open. And then you got, Tyreek Hill, fastest player in the league, got hands. It's but if I had to go with one, I'd probably say he has more success with Kelsey.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to say Kelsey as well. I feel like you can replace Tyreek Hill better than you can replace a guy like Travis Kelsey in this
100%.
league.
There's only a couple. There's a Tony Gonzalez, Rob Gronkowski, maybe Antonio Gates is in the question. There's not many amazing tight ends. You have a lot of receivers.
I was getting ready to say that. The tight end, if you look at it fantasy-wise, obviously the tight end is the most scarce position in football right now.
Absolutely.
As you got, I feel like your top 6 to 7, just like
If
Kelsey,
that.
Andrews, Kittle, Waller, Hawkinson.
Right.
Who else?
But talent-wise, none of them even touch Kelsey. I'm sorry. And I know Kelsey does have the best quarterback right now, but talent-wise, Kelsey's just on a different level.
Kelsey's been doing this with Alex Smith, too.
Yeah, Kelsey's a beast.
Not as much, but he was still doing this with Alex Smith.
And then, to take it to the other Super Bowl team. So, I don't know if I'm willing to jump out there and say Jalen Hurts is the best player on the Eagles. I would probably give it to Jason Kelsey. Hassan Reddick is up there as, probably the biggest game changer for the Eagles. But if we just go ahead and say the quarterback is the best player on the team, who are you putting at number 2? For me, it's going to be Hassan Reddick. That guy is insanely good. Defensively, the biggest game changer on that defense, I would say. He's making the most plays. He's on every ball. But, Gav, what do you have?
It's a really tough question.
Yeah.
It's a really tough question. You said Jason Kelsey. It's hard for me to know how good a center is in this league.
Mm-hmm.
That line is just all around stacked, though. So you can say any of those guys on that line are the best player on that team as well. If you also turn it to the other side of the ball, yes, Hassan Reddick's over there. But you can also say this. You also had 4 other guys on that line that had 10-plus sacks as well on that defensive line.
Yeah.
How about we look at the secondary with Darius Slay, James Bradbury over there having all-pro years as well. I think Darius Slay's up there as well, very underrated for that second spot. But we didn't even talk about A.J. Brown either.
Yeah, I mean, he's up there as well.
I don't know. This is a really hard question. I mean, Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox have been doing this forever too, as well.
I think Hassan Reddick's the.
I think you're right with the Hassan Reddick pick right there. He's just been doing this for a while, and if you watched the game the other day, he's everywhere. He's everywhere.
He was like that last week too against the Giants.
So I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I think Hassan Reddick's also the number 2 guy there.
Yeah. What you got?
I think I could flip-flop between Reddick and Kelsey. But I don't know. I kind of like going with that center spot. I feel like not a lot of people would do it. And he plays I think center, I mean, everybody knows, a huge, huge role. Got to be about one of the smartest on the field. I'm going to go with Jason Kelsey.
So.
Dude, it's just, look at that lineup, though. Just look at that lineup.
Yeah.
Oh, my
That team is
God.
just from top to bottom, dude.
How many Pro Bowlers do they have this year? 8? Something like that? I think they had 8 Pro Bowlers. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. That's a crazy stat. That team is just all around insanely stacked. That's why, it's so hard. The Chiefs, though, they're more, Kelsey, Mahomes, and then you got some, Marcus Valdez-Scantling and like some
Juju.
receivers. Right. But, it's just a funny question to ask because, most of the time on high successful, high pace teams, the quarterback's going to be the best player. I don't know if I'm going to get. I feel like the best player on the team is probably Jason Kelsey, and then Jalen Hurts is probably the number 2.
It's just like
But-
offensive linemen don't get the credit they deserve.
Yeah, they don't. That's why I would say, a couple years ago, Aaron Donald playing defensive tackle was the best player in football.
Mm-hmm.
Trent Williams now potentially being one of the best players in football just because of how dominant he is on the left. But, those big guys definitely have to get their credit where credit is due.
Yeah,
Aaron
it's just-
Donald, arguably one of the greatest defenders of all time.
100%.
That,
100%.
the dude was a freak.
Yeah, but you're gonna
Absolute
see
freak.
the quarterback be the top guy on each team just because
You have the ball now.
you're not. Yeah, it's not even that. It's just like you're just not successful if you don't have a top tier quarterback in this league. You're just not successful without them. And
You can be successful,
I mean,
but you're
I
not
guess
gonna-
you would talk about the 49ers. We could talk about the 49ers.
Yeah, but then you factor in, so you need a good coach as well. And Kyle Shanahan is, if not number 1, if not number 2 in the
He's
league.
up there. He's
know what I mean?
Top 3 for sure.
If not for Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy does not have the same success. That's just plain as day.
I'm gonna ask you something really quick. Sean Payton to the Denver Broncos. If we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about coaches that are gonna affect their team, what is Sean Payton's presence to Denver gonna help with
Oh
Russ?
my God, it's humongous. I think, to be honest, as far as quarterback frame, Russell Wilson and Drew Brees are very similar. I'd say they're about the same size. Arm talent wise, Russell Wilson I think has a better arm than Brees had, but
Yeah,
You know,
a lot better. Yeah,
I think Sean Payton had Drew Brees and under his wing for so long, and then when Drew Brees was out, I remember for a year, a couple games, Teddy Bridgewater came in and I think went undefeated or maybe lost one game. He's a quarterback coach. That guy's going to be great with his quarterback. I think Russell Wilson sees great growth this season.
Yeah, we were. No, hit this one.
I mean, I agree with that, but it's like Russ is a vet. He's been doing it for a while. I don't think a coach is going to come in there and kind of just change it up drastically when he's been doing it for so long. Somebody like Pete Carroll. I mean, yeah, of course he's going to help. I don't know how well he got along with the other coaches, but he's a vet. He's been doing it for a while. I think he's basically just doing his own thing at this point.
How old is Russ? If you can check that for me really quick. I'm gonna guess he's in his lower 30s.
Yeah. Low 30s, probably 31, 32. Or probably like 33, that's my guess. 34. He's 34 years old.
What?
Getting up there, huh?
So what do you got?
He's my age.
And he really signed him for 5 years too.
I mean, Brady's
I
in his mid-40s then.
like. I want to see him succeed. Like I hate
I
how
like
he's
him a lot, dude. He's
such a
yes,
good
he,
guy.
yes, he's cringe. Yes, he does a lot of weird stuff, but he's just a nice dude. Like
Yeah.
he don't do it. Like he's not trying to like mess with nobody. He's just a really genuine guy, and I feel bad he gets the hate that he does, especially with what he's been doing for so long. Like yeah, he had a lot of expectation going to a team like the Broncos with a top 5 defense, Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, even though he got hurt, Jerry Jeudy, all these weapons. He was supposed to do what he does. And he had a rough year, and I think he'll flip things around. I truly do think he will. I like Russell Wilson a lot.
Can we hit it one time for Russ though, Mister?
Huh?
Mister.
Unlimited.
The Danger Witch.
The Danger Witch. The Danger Witch.
No, but I mean,
it's spicy.
after Hackett gets fired, he plays a lot better, I think. And I think the coach has a big factor in how the quarterback plays. Huge factor.
I mean, we wanted Sean Payton to Baltimore for Lamar's success as well. I think Sean Payton could have changed Lamar's passing career tremendously.
Head coach?
Yes.
I feel like Harbaugh's probably going to have a better connection with. As far as relationship goes, Sean Payton will probably have improved the passing game, but I guess John Harbaugh's more of a defensive-minded coach. So,
Special teams. It's a
well, I guess
teams-minded coach.
originally special teams, but the Ravens with him at head coach have always had a pretty good defense.
They've had a good defense their whole
The whole
what's it called?
franchise.
The whole franchise. When you think of the
Draft.
when you think of the Baltimore Ravens, you think of one of the best defenses in the league and running the ball.
Yeah.
That's all you think about with them. You'll never get a big passing team out of them.
Joe Flacco.
You'll never get a big passing team out of them. You'll
Well-
never. 11-0. 11-0. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
If
the real Joe Cool doesn't throw interceptions in the playoffs.
The real Joe
Come
Cool.
on now.
Not
You know
my-
how that goes.
not Montana, not Burrow, no, Joe Flacco, baby.
So I guess it was just 2023, 2013, about 10. This will be 10 years, I think, actually.
Yes,
This will be the 10-year
sir.
anniversary since Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl, potentially one of the best Super Bowl runs of all time.
Absolutely.
But for
Yes,
this
Lord.
Sunday,
Yes, Lord.
for this Sunday, or not this Sunday, actually, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from a week from this Sunday, sorry. Who do we have winning this game?
I'm gonna stick with my pick. The Philadelphia Eagles are gonna win this game.
Mm-hmm.
That defense is just ridiculously stacked. That offensive line is just ridiculously stacked to keep Jalen Hurts safe. I think this team's gonna run the ball like shit in this game. I think it's gonna lead them to a win. I think the over is gonna hit though. I think it's gonna be a fun game.
Oh, my gosh.
I think it's gonna be a great game. I'm excited for it. How about you, Dev?
Yeah. I originally obviously had the 49ers in this matchup, and I was wrong, very wrong. So I'm gonna go Eagles. I think offensively both the teams are very capable, but I think the defense is what really separates this game. With like the Eagles defense is being far superior, and yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. That's really it. I just think that defense really is gonna separate a lot this game, and I think the Eagles walk out with this one.
I can see it definitely being a big factor. The only thing is, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu here from 2015. Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers rally. He wins the MVP, goes 15-1, and in every playoff game, I believe the Seahawks playoff game in the divisional round was 31-24. That's a fairly close game, but in the better part of that game, Carolina was blowing out Seahawks. And then in that AFC Championship game, the Panthers put up 50 points, absolutely decimate the Cardinals. Then they lose in the Super Bowl to Peyton Manning, who's a great quarterback,
Lost to Von
top 2
Miller.
of all time. So I'm getting a little bit of deja vu. I see the Eagles rolling everyone over, and I think they're going to see that good quarterback. Now, maybe Peyton Manning wasn't the deciding factor in that Super Bowl, but
I was about to say
I
that
think you
defense.
lost
Ca-
a Von
I think
Miller,
you
my
see.
guy.
I think you see something similar. I'm catching deja vu. I'm going to take the Chiefs in this one. Patrick Mahomes comes out. I think he wins this game for his Chiefs.
Yeah, the difference for me, I feel like Jalen Hurts would dive on the ball though.
Valid. I'm not going to argue that. I still love my guy Cam regardless.
Yeah, that was rough.
Ain't nothing to a G, so I still take my guy Cam any day.
I'm sorry, I had to do it
It's
really
okay.
quick.
It's only right.
I had to do it really quick. At least if y'all made the Super Bowl like in the last.
Right.
Okay, never mind. That was only like 2 years later. No,
I
you're
said,
not getting
it's
that
good
much
like-
slack. You ain't getting that much slack. Never mind. Never mind. But I kind of want to talk about the Pro Bowl a little bit.
Okay.
Did y'all just see who's an alternate? Who got into the Pro Bowl?
That boy Tyler Huntley.
We got a Baltimore Ravens quarterback in the Pro Bowl.
Yes, sir.
And his name's not Lamar Jackson.
And he threw 2 touchdowns this year.
What was it? Two touchdowns? What? 4 interceptions? 3
Mm-hmm.
interceptions?
The third best quarterback on the Ravens team is in the Pro Bowl. Unbelievable.
Lamar number 3.
Yeah, Lamar's third. Anthony Brown's season. We might low-key need to trade back for Trace McSorley at this point.
Low key.
God.
Oh, my
Guys
God.
throwing it on a dime.
Dude, I can't. I don't even know what to say. Why is he? Who voted for this? Who voted?
I have no idea.
I need.
But it's like the Pro Bowl at this point is just such a joke. I don't even care. Like,
Yeah.
The Pro Bowl is so phony.
That's a perfect way to say it. I mean, you got Tyler Huntley, who was a backup for over half a year. He goes in there and he makes the Pro Bowl. Is this game really as serious as it once was? No.
Do we not see? Look at. All right, the 3 Pro Bowl quarterbacks in the AFC now. Tyler Huntley, Trevor Lawrence,
Who deserves it?
and Derek Carr, who got his job taken at the end of the year.
The Jared Studham. Guy's a beast. I know.
Stidham.
Just stud. I was just
Oh,
trying to
Studham,
throw the
okay, I
stud
got
in there, trying to be funny, but I don't know. That's pretty funny.
Here's a tweet from Derek Carr, by the way. Well, maybe this invitation got lost in the mail from the past seasons, but I'm going back to the Pro Bowl. Number 4, see you soon, Vegas. Yo, that's such a slap in the face, too. And it's in Vegas, too. And it's in Vegas. Damn well knowing you getting traded in the next couple weeks.
Probably so.
Feel bad for him, though. Feel bad for him.
Derek Carr's, he's had a great career with the Raiders.
Anytime, I just think that whole Raiders organization is just in a tough spot.
They are.
And I think that just killed him mentally.
I think they were headed really up before the John Gruden
yeah.
and Henry Ruggs stuff all happened. I thought they were headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
But-
it was a rough year.
I have a
Rough
question.
year.
I have a question. Would y'all rather watch those three quarterbacks in the Pro Bowl, or would you rather watch the coaches Eli Manning and Peyton Manning play in the Pro Bowl?
Eli.
God, Eli and Peyton. You kidding me?
Oh my God, bro!
That'd
That's
be insane. Isn't Pete Davidson in it with Eli or something like that?
He's one of
Like,
the coaches.
he's
Yeah.
something funny.
Pete
dude.
Davidson.
Yeah, he's one
He's
of the
just like a
coaches.
celebrity.
Oh,
I
he's
bet.
with Eli. I forgot they were doing that.
They're like
Yeah.
best friends or some shit.
And
Yeah.
we're giving him burn. That's terrible.
What, Pete? Oh yeah, Pete definitely gets burned, bro. That's my dog. Love that guy. He don't miss.
Top 5 white
You man's
guys
with
this
Skeet?
year.
You man's with Skeet or something?
I'm not mad with him, but
That's top 5
he
white
cool.
guys.
He seemed like he's a viber.
Yeah, that man's got some. I'm not even gonna go with what I was gonna say.
That boy got that dog in him.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. He got that dog in him. We'll keep it. We'll
Yeah.
keep it PG.
Keep it at that. But
We'll save it for big buzz kids. Not have that.
so this is a post that I've been seeing lately. I think it's pretty cool, and I feel like we talk about it a fair amount. We never really give it any burn on the pod. So we talk about the old generation of quarterbacks. Your Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. Who are those next generation quarterbacks? Who would you match it up with? So, for example, I feel like it's pretty obvious. Tom Brady, his play style emulates that of Joe Burrow. I think that Joe Burrow and Tom Brady have a lot in common.
But are we thinking rings?
I'm not talking about accolades. I'm
Play
talking about
style.
play style. So like, accolade wise, you might throw Peyton Manning in Tom Brady's shoes just because he's been a starter for 5 years. He's been to 5 AFC championships. But for me, Tom Brady is Joe Burrow. I want to know what you guys think about that.
Lamar Jackson is Michael Vick, obviously. We all know that.
Okay,
one.
I was talking about the Tom Brady though. Like, what do y'all?
Oh, the Tom Brady?
Yeah,
Well, I'll agree. Same play style as
Burrow.
Burrow. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I want to say bro, but I kind of want to say Breeze. I mean, when you talk about the most accurate quarterbacks to ever do it, Joe Burrow is up there right now.
Okay.
Breeze is there. I think Burrow can move a little bit. Breeze can move a little bit. I think he can move a little bit more than Brady. I can definitely see where the Brady's coming from, just because he's like the new face.
Right.
But me, I'm gonna go with Breeze. I think he resembles Breeze a little bit more.
I think that's a good take.
I feel a lot of these quarterbacks are just so much different from what we've seen in the past. Like, I feel like you can't even compare anybody to Patrick Mahomes'
Well,
play style.
Okay, so Patrick Mahomes argument. If you were to ask me who would you compare to Patrick Mahomes, I'm saying Aaron Rodgers.
That's who I was gonna say.
Frank Tarkenson. I don't even know about that.
I have no idea. who that
He
is.
was the real first mobile quarterback doing that
Not
back in
gonna
the
lie.
70s. I just learned that today, actually. I seen a video on it. He was like, there was literally plays where he was just running around, throws like a 60-yard bomb. He was really like
Oh, the
that.
Doug Flutie shit.
What year
Yeah.
was this?
In the 70s, I think he was.
Wow.
I'm not. It was. He's an old quarterback. We can watch it after this. After the pod.
Yeah. Well, let's watch his highlights after
Yeah,
this.
for sure. We're gonna all sit down.
I probably
and
got the
watch.
TikTok linked somewhere. I can go find it. But it was kind of dope though.
I like the just because of like the playability, like the improvisation. I just think Patrick Mahomes has a lot of improv in his game. I think Aaron Rodgers, when it comes down to it, has a lot of improv in his game as well. I think he can get out of the pocket. He can make plays happen with his legs. Patrick Mahomes does the same thing.
That's
That's
a-
a good. That's a good comparison.
It's a really hard to think about it right off the top of my head. Like, I need to have a list of names.
Yeah,
on the
I mean-
sides. I need the present quarterbacks. I need the past quarterbacks, and it's like you got to match it with your definition back in
Right.
in school. You got to just match with the definitions.
Like the draw lines.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard for me to just think of it.
I
off
have
top
all
of
the
my head.
examples. Like, so you said Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson. I think that's a good comparison right there. That's pretty obvious.
Mhm.
You know, you can say the same thing about Randall Cunningham, Lamar Jackson. All guys can run. Peyton Manning. I threw Trevor Lawrence in there for Peyton Manning. I think Trevor Lawrence has the brains. I think Trevor Lawrence can really play.
Trevor Lawrence can.
He can get out of the
He
pocket
can
though.
move. Peyton
Yeah,
Manning
but
was going
you're-
nowhere.
Okay, it's hardly hard to say something like that because just quarterbacks back in the day really couldn't move. Like, pocket passers were more common. It's like saying nowadays your average size linebacker is, sometimes in the low 200s, where back in the day they were 250 plus easily every single time. So, your linebackers, every position in football is evolving a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Tight ends back in the day were just big linemen that could block and then kind of catch sometimes. Everything's evolved in football. I would just say as a comparison, that would be mine. Trevor Lawrence and Peyton Manning.
I can't even think right now. That's what I'm trying to think who else I
It's a hard one. It's a hard one to think about.
Manning. I'm just trying to think of somebody that.
It's kind of like a group thing to me right now.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the pocket passers were like this era of the Tom Brady and the Breeze,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying. And then it kind of switched to like the Lamar era, the Jalen Hurts era, and now I think there's a new era with the Trevor Lawrence and the Burrow, and it's kind of like more of a pocket passer but has wiggle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You have
so
to
I
be
think
able
it's
to
more
move.
of a group thing more
Yeah.
than like that individual thing.
I
for
just-
me.
I just think the whole quarterback position is just evolving. It's
Yeah.
just
Like Kyle said,
like
That'd be
where you've
fun.
never seen this
The
many.
game of football.
they
You,
can wiggle.
you never see.
You know what
Every
I'm saying?
quarterback has to have some type of mobility at
If
least.
you put somebody like Tyreek Hill who's running a 4-3, 4-4 back in the day, people will lose their minds. bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's just everybody's evolving. That's what every sport.
Right.
You got people like Ja jumping out the roof. You do that like, you got Kyrie putting people together with handles you've never even seen before. Like,
Yeah, people make those arguments about, like, I saw one today. It was like if you pulled the worst MLB player right now and put him in Babe Ruth's era, he would kill.
Yeah.
And if you put Babe Ruth in this era, he would shit on everything. It would be terrible.
Exactly.
So,
That's
like-
why it's so like. That's why you can't compare stuff.
You-
It's so hard. Like
Yeah.
here we go. I ain't even gonna bring up no Jordan or LeBron because
I was about to
it's
say
gonna get
that's
real
what.
heated in here. But you know where I'm getting at.
But basketball too, like, okay, point guards before didn't really
Shoot
really
the
play
ball.
a big shooting aspect of the game. Now you have Steph
Everything's
Curry
changed.
evolutionize the game.
And that's why.
Nikola Jokic evolutionized the game. Giannis Antetokounmpo evolutionized the game. All these guys have handles. Back in the day, they would have just been in the paint posting people up.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so hard. Like when they make these NBA top 75, top 100s, it's like you see people like Bob Cousy and all these people in there. You got the old heads be like, oh, he was nice back in the day, but like now he would get fried.
Yeah,
but
he
they're
would.
always gonna put him in there because people like that got like 5 rings,
It's the accolade.
this and that. Like it's hard.
It is.
Me personally, I don't like putting people like that in them. And plumbers and mechanics and whatnot hooping. I don't like that because I'm giving them a bucket if I'm being honest. But
Yeah.
It just feels like nowadays it's like your best player on your team is your point guard now. Like not even like Jokic is bringing the ball up.
Right, and he's playing the.
This man's bringing the ball
yeah,
up.
it's
LeBron
true.
been doing
LeBron's been on
Mhm.
the Heat. Even he did it.
yeah, point forward.
Yeah, it's just like that. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that.
Luka was a shooting guard and he runs the point still. It's all of this stuff. I
Yeah.
feel like
And a lot of the times you could even say, as far as quarterback in football, your quarterback, at least in high school and college, usually is one of your most athletic players on the field. And I think you could still say that with the NFL. Lamar Jackson's probably the most athletic player on the Ravens. You could say, Herbert and Mahomes are still really athletic. Same goes with Josh Allen. You've seen those guys take hits. You've seen those guys lay hits. It's just like anything. All your quarterbacks are going to be super athletic players as well.
you think Big Ben's pretty athletic.
I mean, like I was saying, I still think comparatively he is, but that's that older era where people were more pocket passers. Tom Brady looked like a middle-aged dad. Like when he was running the combine, just didn't look good. He wasn't super athletic compared to the guys now. It's a different type of game. Like you said, your point guard's your best player. Nowadays, your quarterback's one of your most athletic players.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that 100%. Agree with it 100%. But I think this is a great pod.
Yeah.
This was a great
This one
pod.
was fun. I like this one.
Have fun.
Gonna see y'all Super Bowl weekend. Y'all, you got anything to say to wrap it up?
Hey, y'all stay blessed out there. Be safe. We're going to see y'all soon.
Yeah, we got new stuff on the way for you guys coming. A lot of stuff. We're working real hard behind the scenes, trying to bust this stuff out for y'all, and for everybody in the Big Buzz community. So stay locked in, and go ahead and sign us off, Big Dog.
I want to say one more thing as well. Just because football season is coming to a wrap soon, don't get us wrong. Baseball's coming up. We got the NBA in the middle of the season. It's getting ready to be NBA time. It's about, the Stanley Cup playoffs are coming. We got March Madness. We got the horse races coming up. We got all this stuff coming up. We're only getting better from here. That's
sure
all I
y'all-
gotta say to y'all.
Make sure y'all tune in on Instagram. We want some free money.
Yep, free money. All I gotta say. All right, peace out.
Love y'all.